Hey there guys, good afternoon. Michael Graham here, founder of the Legacy Project, and what I'm going to talk to you guys about today in today's Monday motivational video is how do you prepare yourself mentally for the battle, for the war that's going to be your training and your event, right? Doing an endurance event, doing an Ironman, doing a marathon, doing a 10K run, doing a half marathon, whatever the endurance event is for you, there's a big mental barriers that you've got to learn to break. And one of the biggest mental barriers when it comes to endurance sport is actually being able to last the distance, right? They call it last the distance. What that means is, for example, in your training rides, I know when I was doing my Ironman, when I was training for that, some of my training rides were 8. I think my longest training ride was 9 hours. 9 hours on the bike, right? An average long training session on the run would be 3 hours. An average swim session when I was training for my 10K swim was about 3 hours, right? So the point that I'm making is you're in the environment for a long time, and actually what it is your body after a while becomes okay. It can cope in that amount of time. What you've got to learn to win though a lot of times is the mental game. You've got to learn to win that mental battle in terms of getting in, throwing yourself in, committing 100% and really winning that side of the challenge, because that's the biggest part. Once you win that part, the rest, the physical and everything else is actually much, much easier. So I want to share with you a couple of tips that I use, that I still do to help me win that mental battle. So my first thing is this. I always think about one of my first motivational videos that I watched when I started this journey to Ironman, which was that they were asking, it was an interview, they were asking a pro Ironman. So listen, why do you do the sport? How do you cope with being on the bike or the run or the swim for such a long period of time? And what this guy said blew me away. It was so simple, but it blew me away. What he said was, he said, listen, the way I look at it is time is going to pass regardless, but who am I going to become, right? He said, and he explained it, he was like, I might as well train for 4 months, 6 months, 9 hours, whatever it is that I've got to train, because I know that at the end of that period, whilst I might not enjoy it, at the end of that period, I become an Ironman, or I achieve something that I would never have achieved and that other people aren't even close to achieving. And it's so true, it rings so true with me. I'm quite comfortable now going out for a 4-hour run, because I know that so many people wouldn't do that. So I might as well be the guy to do that, because I want to become, an Ironman. I want to do that kind of stuff, right? I want to push my barriers and I want to see where I can go. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I always think about is this. Everybody always starts strong when it comes to training, when it comes to an event, especially at an event. You always see people, racing ahead, but very few people finish strong. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to start strong and I want to finish strong. So I quite like my long sets, because it's an environment where I can physically test myself in terms of finishing strong, right? And the last thing that I do is I really like to break down my training to replicate race scenario. So for example, in an Ironman, you can't listen to music. I don't listen to music when I train. But what I like to do is I like to envisage myself sort of going to war like a gladiator, right? I'm going to the Colosseum. I'm going to go and fight, right? I'm going to go to battle. And the way I look at it is, it's a beautiful place. It's a Havana place where I break it down into segments. So for example, with my run, I say to myself, if I'm marathon training, I say to myself, right, the first 10 Ks is a warm-up. I'm getting through my warm-up. Between 10 to 30 Ks, what I'm doing is I'm warming up my leg. I'm getting my legs nice and I'm stretching my legs. And in the last 10 Ks, I am dying, right? And that's kind of how I break it down in my head. I break the training down into segments. Same thing with my swim, same thing with my ride. I break it into segments. But my warm-up is normally long in my head, because then it's like, okay, the machine's moving, the wheels are alive, so to speak, and now it's time to kick on from there, right? So I hope that helps you guys. Training is so mental, doing an event is so mental, doing this kind of sport is so mental. It's definitely the most beautiful thing you'll do in your life. But I hope this video has helped you. I hope it gives you guys some motivation for this week. Remember, go out there, push yourself, start strong, finish strong, and remember, you are made of more. Have a great week, guys. Legacy Project, keep it up.